One to four family contract, paragraph 19, representations. Important for the seller to understand because some sellers don't understand this. All covenants, that's promises, representations, and warranties in this contract survive closing. What does that mean? That means that any representation the seller made in this contract is untrue on closing date, the seller is going to be in default. So if the seller knows something's wrong with the property, if the seller knows some condition or anything the buyer would want to know, and they know that information and they don't tell it to the buyer will find out, they're still liable for those representations. I guess what this is trying to point out to say is that if there's an issue, the seller's not letting them know, and we close and they get their money and they go, got past that. No, that's probably not the case. They're still liable for all their promises, representations, and warranties in the contract, even after closing, right? So make sure they understand that. If there's any doubt in their mind, this is the paragraph I would come to and point out to them. Okay. Now, here's the other thing for the buyer. Unless expressly prohibited by agreement, the seller can continue to show the property and receive and negotiate backup offers. So the seller can still leave the property on the market and show it to potential buyers and negotiate offers with buyers as a backup to your buyer's contract. Okay. What that will do is if they have a backup contract, doesn't that increase the negotiation ability of the seller? Because they can say, well, why am I going to do all this or give you this when I have a backup contract? So the buyer might want a bunch of repairs, and the sellers negotiating a contract and saying, well, here they're wanting these things, then I'm not willing to do it. Are you willing? So they can still negotiate other contracts, right? Make sure that you understand that. And as a listing agent, negotiating a backup contract, especially in demand times, can increase the strength of the negotiation power of your seller. Because if the buyer contract falls through, they still have another contract.